Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Meredith Mynrose. I am a universal healer and a peace visionary, and today I am doing a Libra astrology, universal astrology message for Libras. I did do one earlier, but the recording got lost, so this is a repeat. It may be shorter, it may be different. I wouldn't know because the recording is totally gone. I tried to get it back, but it's not there. So I laid out the cards again. I didn't pull out any new cards. I didn't pull out any new oracle cards or supporting cards. So the cards that you have, Libra, the first one is 8 of Wands in reverse, and then 10 of Wands, 2 of Cups, 5 of Swords, 2 Temperance, upright, Magician, and 6 of Wands. So it was such a good message, the one that was lost, but I think I'll just do another version of it. And the mermaid card that I put out was vulnerability, dreams, and guide. Okay, so let me connect and tap again to the actual Libra message if it's still there for me. I think it is. So my first impression about your cards that I pulled out earlier that I'm remembering right now, there's a setback or plan gone wrong. There's also like jealousy and spite around you. This card really shows your workplace rather than your relationship, like relationship in the workplace. It seems that you take up a lot of responsibilities. You carry a lot of duties, and one other thing is that because you're a Libra, you have a skilled personal advisory in your mind. Like you can, because you know how to do things, you want to do it on your own, you want to do it your way. And you are multi-talented. I remember that. Like you're multi-talented. You can do a lot of things. You're capable of doing many things. There's this 5 of Swords. You always win arguments because you see all sides, or you always tell people how righteous you are and how wrong they are. You always love to look smug and to look a know-it-all. Alright, I just remember something about you. On the shadow side of a Libra, you guys may seem like a mean bully or a very cruel judge. So you would judge people cruelly. And it seems that, so this card for me, I remember now, is that there was a promotion. You were promoted, or because this is in the past, you had a promotion that made people jealous of you in your workplace because you're very capable. And I just remember the message. And you're that type of person who makes other people feel inadequate because you're so fast and you're so quick and you're so, like, you are very, very, very multi-talented, very skilled. One of the things I didn't mention in the last video is that you're almost like the jack of all trades, because you can do many things and it's easy for you. And people don't like that about you because you're a show off, and you always have this kind of like huff and puff and like I'm like better than you. So how to say this? So you one of the qualities that this card is saying that people don't necessarily like your know-it-all attitude to them. They don't necessarily accept the fact that you're such a mean bully. Like, I remember, like, I'm just saying from what I remember from my lost recording, on a very, because there's many spectrum of a Libra, but on a very negative or, you know, shadow side, you're a very know-it-all, you're very smug, and you're very, because this guy or this girl, if it's in a workplace, it's between your colleagues, you always win verbal arguments. You always see a better point of view. And just because other people don't see your point of view, you judge them cruelly for being dumb or for being stupid or for being unknowledgeable, for being an idiot. So you have a very cruel way of teaching people right from wrong. So the part about cruel judge, let me just kind of like, okay, the part where you're very like a cruel judge, it's what makes people spiteful of you and are jealous of you, and kind of like they have an office gossip about you, and they don't want to show their vulnerability to you. And it's very hard for you to make friends in the office because you're always, so one thing that you do is that you make everybody seem so inadequate, and you're that person who kind of like try to pull the team workers with your enthusiasm or your optimism, but because you don't hear them, you don't listen to them, in the end you have to do a lot of the job for them, and it's not healthy for you to do all the jobs for them, even if you know how to do it. It's not healthy for you to do that, because even if one thing I remember also is, even if you eventually get promoted higher, you end up doing the, because you have like OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, not chronic, but maybe subconsciously you have obsessiveness to do everything right, everything your way, everything from your point of view. And when I pull out the mermaid card, the vulnerability, at first I'm like, are you the one who's vulnerable? But actually, you don't let other people be vulnerable around you, not because they don't want to, because when they do, you are cruel and mean to them, and you don't teach them, you don't guide them. And you got the card of guide. A guide, a mentor, a trustworthy ally. You have to learn to be an ally with your co-workers rather than being competitive. So one thing here is that you are competitive. You're competitive because you love to be, you have this tendency to judge people. You have this tendency to automatically make judgments, and you don't reserve a compassionate or a empathic side to see other people's reasons, to see other people's point of view, to see other people's vulnerabilities, and you only see from your own point of view, and you only address your own facts, but you don't address other people's resources, reasons, and facts, and their history or their experiences. Because the thing is that you don't trust people to do the job in your right way. So when you don't let those people do their job in their own way, and because you disapprove of their way, you end up carrying a lot. You're a workaholic. You're a workaholic, Libra. You tend to take on other people's job just because you want it to do your way, but it's not gonna be a happy ending for you, because eventually if you don't change your behavior, you're gonna end up a workaholic and a burnout, and you won't realize that you had an opportunity to be less OCD with the righteous way, because Libra, you're awesome with like righteousness, but sometimes in the shadow side, when it's too extreme, you don't make space for other people's version of righteousness. Because if you evaluate it from being able to listen with compassion, and here comes the energy of vulnerability. The energy of vulnerability comes with this compassion. Open your heart, allow yourself to be tender, and be a listener in order to be a good judge. You may have that natural judgmental trait because you're a Libra. Libra is like justice and judge, balance and fairness. But to not be a cruel judge, you have to be a compassionate judge. And when you're a cruel judge, you get spiteful people around you, and you definitely have a great career ahead, but it doesn't seem like you'd have any loyal team members. You'd probably, there's this thing that company or corporate people say, their lingo is that the turnover employee, or the turnout or something, turn something like, you know how each seasons there are employees who quits, and then some employees stays for long term. So it's up to the manager. If you are a manager, if you are a superior role above your co-workers, peers, there's going to be a lot of dissatisfied team members for you, and you end up not learning how to hold a bond with your team members. And now I'm hearing something like betrayal. So one thing I get from my reading that is lost. I'm very sorry that I have to keep mentioning the lost reading. It's just how I reconnect to what I've read so far in that video. Your inability to allow other people to be vulnerable, it makes you stop making good judgments. And then, so you can be classified as a office narcissist or an office sociopath. This is the shadow side. One of my main readings are to empower people by showing their vulnerability of their shadow side. So it's not going to be sugarcoating, and it's not going to be like manipulative type of reading. Like, I don't stroke your ego in my readings. I don't do that. So some of you may not like what you're hearing, because your ego is going to be very upset hearing this, because you don't want to realize, you don't want to admit, you don't want to accept that you are not perfect, you are not right, because you're one of those people who perceive and believe that you're always want to be on the right side, always want to do the right thing, always want to make the right call, the right judgment, the right decision. You always rely on your ability to do the right thing. But at times when you're too obsessive, you tend to make a mistake because you don't take into accountability other people's reasons, other people's insights, other people's details, other people's, because you're just too obsessed with your own idea of right. And you only, because you are damn capable, there's nothing wrong with your capability, but when you're in too excess, when you're not balanced. So this is where the temperance card come out with this energy of balance. When you are not balanced, you tend to be a very mean person who's very cruel, who doesn't recognize that you're hurting those people around you. You're making them feel defeated, and you won't let them be vulnerable around you, because you don't want to make space for them to as I mentioned, you were very smug. You're very smug, and you're very huff and puff, and like you're very I'm right, you're wrong, and you're stubborn, you're hot-headed, and you're it doesn't show in here, but I'm just reading beyond the cards. You're stubborn, you're hot-headed when you're in your most shadow side. This is not going to apply to all Libras. If it doesn't resonate, don't pick up on it, because it might not resonate to everybody who's listening in. Some of you are not in your shadow side, but mind your shadow, right? You know, like spirituality. Be mindful of your shadow. Be mindful of your darkness. Don't let your darkness take over you and become and turning into an ego, that then you will lead a life of extremity rather than modesty and balance, and you know, this ability to be grounded. So here, temperance, you can see that there's cups here. There's cups here. Oh right. There's a lot of cups here. There's the Magician's cup, there's the Two of Cups, and then there's these cups. You have to give and take emotional support, because in order for you, I can see that you could go up in higher roles, in higher like executive manager or directing manager or CEO. But in order to have a very successful team, a company, a group of people that you're leading, because I don't see you as a follower, even though you actually do most of the work, because you don't trust them, you don't trust your co-workers to do the work the right way for you, and then that's what makes you a workaholic. And I'm just saying, eventually, if you don't change, you're going to burn out, and then you're going to be easily pushed and bullied. Eventually, like, you know, the mean office bully, or the cruel mean person in the office will shift. It's because you're going to be really unconscious, to the point that you don't realize that other people just pretends to don't know how to do things, just so that you would just pick up their tasks and duties and do it for them. And eventually you're gonna keep doing that. You're gonna blindside yourself until you don't. I'm just saying the more shadow side. This is not in the other reading, and you're going to maybe get demoted. So it's like a cycle of you were there. You could be an amazing leader with your Libra energy, but because you don't see your rearview mirror, you couldn't recognize when people are letting themselves be defeated and telling you, you know what, yeah, I really don't know how to do this. And then you're gonna say, oh, I knew you can't do it. And you're just mean. You're a mean judge, and you're just gonna do it for them. And this Two of Cups is the third card. I pulled out 7 cards. This is the third card. This third card says you recently either got promoted or there was some type of a role that you agree to take on. I know that this Two of Cups also represents a new union, a new, for me to you is a new contract. And people are unhappy that you get it so fast. You get promoted so fast. Okay, so the energy of the Temperance is also telling me that you have to balance your own perception and judgment to making yourself available to the emotions of others so that you can be a better guide. So this whole spread, a theme for this is you have to learn to be a guide, a mentor, an ally to your co-workers rather than being an office mean bully or a cruel judge of character who's impatient, intolerant, and stubborn, because you may feel very smug and very huff puff and very proud that you're much more capable than everybody else, and it can go to your head. It is like every single sign has its shadow aspect, and I'm starting to see that some of you guys who only wants the sugar coat pinky dust fairy dust pixie dust version, you're not gonna get it here. But I swear that if there was amazing news about you, which I will tell you, you actually have this opportunity to lead a victory parade. You do. It's just that you have to build a team. Just imagine if people, the chairman of the company recognizes that a lot of your co-workers in your team or department always quits, always leave, and there's no traction or there's no loyalty between the employee to the company because you are such a mean, cruel person who doesn't guide or mentor your co-workers because you're always doing it for them and you're always demeaning them, or like you don't give them a chance to grow and learn because you are impatient and you're stubborn and you're intolerant of their feelings, of their vulnerability, of their, like, you have to see them as not a robot. You're basically Libra because your logic is very strong. You don't make room for other people's vulnerability if they're not on the same level as logic as you, even though your logic can somehow be like above 75% right, but excessive would make your logic wrong, would make your logic be like, for example, the emergency lane is only for emergencies, and there's some incident where somebody had to park on that emergency lane and they had to like leave the car for a while, and then they get a ticket despite it being an unseen emergency. But you don't want to hear the reason why they do that. You just only see on the surface, and that is why the energy is like on this mermaid card, dreams, subconscious, and it resonates and supports by this Temperance card to dip your toe in your subconscious or in the emotional values of your surrounding, your environment, so that you don't be a cruel judge. If you had more compassion, if you open your heart a little bit more and you let yourself be tender, you're going to be an amazing guide and mentor. Libras, you can be an amazing guide and mentor when you make your heart available to people and guide them. To be a listener, to be more patient, like temper tantrum, temperance, like temper, balance your mind and your heart, or your, I think like heart and soul, mind, heart and soul. Sometimes you get so robotic and you don't realize that, so this is your shadow side. You get so robotic that you don't see that it's eating you up, it's consuming you, and then you get more grumpy, you get more stubborn, you get more intolerant, you get more impatient. And all of this could have been stopped if, I don't really know who I'm speaking to right now because this is going to be a public video, but to some of you over the age of 40, where you are leading a team, you are an executive manager, you have your own company with your own workers, the message here is that you guys have to lead in a balance, lead with balance. You have to be grounded and open your heart more to your environment rather than letting your vision rule your consciousness without reality check, without recognizing that this employee cannot do certain things because they're incapable, but other employees can help her or him. And you could have like just partner them up because you're listening to them and you learn to support their vulnerability or weakness, not because like everybody is not perfect, but in your eyes you judge them for not being as perfect as you. You can only see from your own you only know the content of your own soul or in your card, but you don't make a space where other people's content can be revealed. And you don't make, you're not quiet enough, you're not silent enough to listen, to investigate, to exchange facts, rationalize with reason. So you have to have reason, and reason is always in the gray area of subconscious, in the water energy of emotions. So I'm sensing that to you guys who have this work drama, you are not a perfect Libra because not every sign is perfect. So if you're willing to be open, you have an amazing future as the energy of the magician. You're going to have so much success and triumph leading the victory parade when you learn to do this, when you learn to have more temperance in your dealings with people. And when I pull out a life purpose card, the card says support, and I feel that you need to be more supportive to your co-workers or to the people underneath you who works under you. And the 3 dragon cards that I pulled out, the first one is Fire Dragon burns out the lower energies around you. You are safe and protected. Be determined and inspired. Clear your soul pathway. Let me remember what I mentioned in the lost reading. My channel should be like the lost reading. The lost reading of air sign. The lost reading of the Libra sign. I'm trying to remember what the fire is about that I pulled out. Yeah, so you got the second card is Crystal Yellow Dragon opens you to higher learning and wisdom. Expand your crown chakra for illumination. Walk the higher spiritual path. So so I feel that you need to be more wiser with your keen, natural, judgy character. You have to learn to judge with compassion rather than judging with logic and just facts, hard cold facts. and try to make room for more reason and more, because sometimes those reasons are the skeleton key, are the bonus bingo bonus something, a bonus thing, where it can topple all the logic because of that one reason, of that one empathic situation where compassion is required in order to, for example, like when compassion is required, like a mother is stealing to feed her hungry baby, but then the police catch her and put her in prison, and then the child, instead of giving like, you know, wealth, monetary help, they judge. But a compassionate police would help by buying her groceries and would recommend her to go to the welfare and then receive some kind of like financial support, and to help her build a side income with any kind of like temporary jobs that they might offer her. So that is a compassionate judge. But to some of you Libra, you may be like one of these Libras who are so by the book, are so logic and hard cold facts, and you don't want to make space for reasons, for feelings. This vulnerability card is so important to you because it's your kryptonite. So for you Libra, your kryptonite is allowing a space for other people's vulnerability to explain to you why they cannot meet your standards. And here we have another card at the bottom. Here it says, be the guiding light. Orange gold dragon from Arcturus opens you to knowledge for the golden age. I feel that you can be an amazing leader, Libra, if you connect to your compassionate ability to judge compassionately. But don't go overboard. Don't go into like it all comes down to balance, because when you're too compassionate and you judge only from reason rather than logic, I know this from my personal experience, if you're just judging from pure reason and no logic, you are going to be used like this. The reason that you're helping other people's duty, task, and job out is because they can't do it, and then eventually they know your behavior and they're just going to act defeated and like, you know, why don't you do it? I know you can do it better than me. And then while you work hard, while the boss works hard, they're just going to clip their nails and do their manicures and just be on the phone call with their boyfriends and like nurture their relationship and going back early because you're doing all the work for them, because you're in the extremity of just letting your judgment use only reason. Instead, what you could do if you were to be a guide and a mentor, which this card is here, an ally, you teach them. You tell them, you know what, I'm going to teach you and I'm going to see you do it, and you're going to give this to me before you leave work today, and you're going to stay here for an hour extra, and if you're doing a good job tomorrow, you don't have to stay until you can leave an hour early. You good? So it's like this. You learn to negotiate. This is this card. Negotiate with your co-workers or your team members how to be better towards your standard, because you're open to their vulnerability and you accept that they are not perfect and they are employees of your company and they can do the work if you guide them and mentor them, and you're going to earn their trust and respect. And they're not going to be spiteful, jealous, upset, pissed off, tiffed off with you. And they're not going to feel defeated around you, because you're going to help lead them into victory to whatever projects that you're working on. Maybe you're an architect firm and you're going to like do a project with some like, you know, resources, forest things, or you're going to do some work with the government, or whatever projects that you are doing. Your ability to lead your team is going to bring you to success. I dropped it. Where is it? Cannot get it. Where is it? Yeah. You're gonna get to learn to negotiate how to be a better mentor, a better guide. Where's the other one? So the fire dragon, what was it? I don't know. It burns up the lower energies around you. So if there is this cruelness or meanness or impatience or fear or this judgment that is careless judgment, the dragon's energy is gonna help you clear this energy so that you can make room for being more authentic and vulnerable with your co-workers. Okay, the last card I pulled out is pomegranate. It's just here. Let me just pull it out. What does that mean? I think it has the same meaning with the inner journey. Okay, so I didn't get to mention this because I forgot about it in the lost reading 71. So about the dream card. About the dream card here. It feels like you have to tap into your subconscious in order to make room for reason, because you're so obsessed with logic and straight and narrow and like A, B, C rather than the gray areas. You know, like there, if you just learn English and A is A, you don't know other country, culture, nation pronounce A as ah or eh or so like there's gray areas in every logic. There's gray areas in every fact. There's all these terms and conditions. Like for example, if I say if you go to the mall and there's like 50% off, and then they have this kind of like mark 50% off with any purchase of $200. So that is the gray area. So it's the same thing. Reasons and subconscious and accessing your dream. Accessing your dreams would help you to balance your emotions. I don't know. Do you guys dream? Some signs don't really dream much. Do you guys not dream? So here is where the pomegranate is saying inner journey is an important thing for you. Okay, let me read this to you. The pomegranate Deva message. I am the fruit of the underworld and I will guide you on your inner journey as you enter the rich realms of your unconscious. I can help you to interpret your dream and to gain a deeper understanding of the world around you. So you understand the world from your point of view. But if you open your mind and heart to allow other people to express their reasons in a healthy way, then you can understand the world around you even deeper. So it says here, use your intuition and instinct to tune into the major themes in your life. Meditation will help you to still your mind so that inspiration can strike, and creative visualization will help you to plan your life's path. Stay focused on positive and constructive thoughts. Do not let yourself be sidetracked or held back by fears and negative emotions. Trust that all will be well and that you are being guided in the perfect direction for you. The ancient Greeks associated the pomegranate with death and rebirth, and its fruit features in several myths. One of the most notable concerns Persephone, who was lured into the underworld by Hades, who tricked her into eating pomegranate seeds. This meant she had to spend each winter with him, a time when nature went into mourning for her. Her re-emergence into the world each spring allowed plants to grow again. The bark of the tree, the rind, the seeds, and the juice of the fruits are all used in Ayurveda. Okay, so that's just extra additional information about pomegranate. But the inner journey is something that you have to traverse. I feel like this card, Temperance and Dream. So I feel like you have to make space for reason in your life, not just logic and hard cold facts. So these three cards, Temperance, Dreams, and Pomegranate Inner Journey, it's showing to you you have to balance judgments from facts to reasons from the human vulnerability. I don't know if you're a lawyer. Talking about lawyers, I feel like there's this TV series called Suits, Suits. It's about a lawyer firm, and I think that there's this guy named Louis Litt. I think he is a office bully and a mean character, a mean judge of character, and he doesn't necessarily have a balanced emotion, but he had to learn to balance it, because maybe some of you Libras have like some trauma with emotions, and you close your heart and you hold a grudge, or you stop allowing other people to be vulnerable around you because you don't want to be entertaining other people's vulnerability. So I suggest you look up who is this Louis Litt from the TV series Suits. He definitely can show to you a shadow side of Libra, where if he only knows hard cold facts and the truth without investigating the vulnerable areas or the reasons, which is like a bonus point or like the bonanza. Like sometimes there's this kind of extra tidbits which makes the logic become illogical. So you have to balance logic and reason in order to be fair, and in your attitude and behavior to your coworkers. If this message resonates to you, definitely it doesn't not going to resonate to everybody, because this is not going to be about romantic relationship unless you can apply it yourself from your own point of view about your romantic relationship. Because I guess I don't really talk about relationship in my readings, not a lot of it, but you can be an amazing human being if you can pause and entertain some reasons, and rather than judge a person who's trying to do their job or who's trying to tell you something, you kind of like make room for them, and then you can learn to bond with them. I feel like this is a bonding with your coworkers or employees or a relationship. Maybe your romantic relationship can be applied into this, but the last card doesn't show me a romantic gesture energetically. So you can gain respect, and you can gain celebration. You can gain, what's another word for respect? You can gain respect from your peers. This is also like maybe you gain recognition, respect from your peers, because you learn to balance your Libra energy, your justice, righteousness, and this judge energy. So I hope this message resonates to you. And oh yeah, what else? Magician. Yeah, this is a very beautiful card. You can be a very multi-talented, skilled CEO, or not just CEO. If in fact you're a CEO, then amazing. And you get the victory card, the victory parade. You just have to be more wiser in how you balance your reason and logic, and everything will be all right. So I hope these readings give you some clarity and meaning. If you feel like you are interested in working with me, you're welcome to go and check out my website. And there's a psychic reading available and a universal healing session available. I will see you next time, Libras. For now, all the best. Balance your reason and logic, okay? My name is Meredith Mynrose. I'm a universal healer and peace visionary. See you next time.